Welcome back to AgriTalk. We're in Decatur, Illinois at the Farm Progress Show site. 1 week from today, we'll be here kicking off this year's Farm Progress Show. It has rolled around already, and National Events Manager for Farm Progress, Matt Jungmann, joins us. And when I pulled onto the grounds this morning, I was amazed at how much is done and how much is getting done. Again, the advantages of the permanent site. Set up is much easier than it used to be, and you can get it done a lot quicker and start sooner.
Well, that's exactly right. There have been tents going up since the middle of July, and that's the backbone of what it takes. Then the electricians, and then the landscapers, and now this week is when it gets really exciting with all the company people showing up. It's a reunion going on in the show office about every 10 minutes with people coming in. But you're right. I mean, I pulled into the show site, and I can't believe that we're Tuesday. We're a full week ahead of the show. I can't believe how much is going on right now, which is good, because that means this work's getting done right now, and it's not all piling into that Monday, the day before the show opens.
Yeah, when you compare it to what I call the old days, when you did not have the permanent sites of here in Decatur and in Boone, Iowa, when it rotated to a different location every year, a lot of those years you'd get a little bit of activity in the week ahead, but as you said, the bulk of it would take place Sunday, Monday, right ahead of the show, and everything was so weather dependent at that point. If you got a rainy Monday setup day, it was really tough. I mean, this just spreads out the risk so much more.
Well, it does, and you have paved access coming into the show site from several different angles, which is great because everybody knows where they're going. If you've been here, you're going on your fifth show here in Decatur, you know exactly where your lot is. You know exactly where to go and what to do and how to get it set up, which lowers the traffic in the show office and less conversations and lets our crew, our crew's out setting up a lot of our internal operational things. They get pulled away a lot less than they used to. So it allows us to have a bigger show than we've ever had with the same size crew in place.
We'll talk more about the exhibit field in just a moment, and later we'll talk a lot about crops with host farmer David Bricks. But the question that we kind of left hanging the last time we were here, you were wondering, would the corn be far enough along that you'd be able to have your field demonstrations? What's the answer to that question?
Well, nothing's official. We're going to have our media day tomorrow, and we're going to have an answer for that. We're going to have a few more meetings today, but yeah, I think it's just kind of window dressing at this point, and I'll let David comment on it. And unless magic has happened, it really doesn't look all that good for demos. It's still, it's possible we may be able to do a few things, but Mother Nature just hasn't agreed with us this summer in terms of giving us any warm temperatures. Except it sounds like right during the show we're going to get all the heat that we should have gotten to get the corn ready.
Yeah, if we'd have had the conditions we're having now and we'll have for the next week or two, it sounds like. If you'd had those a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, would have made all the difference. That
would have been normal July weather in Decatur, Illinois. Something getting up into the 90s and really cranking that corn along. And and to be honest, that's Wisconsin corn. That's 96-day corn out there. And we've had Wisconsin weather here in Macon County, and so it's pretty good corn. So we don't want to make any bad decisions with it. It's David's corn, and we don't want to make bad decisions and go in and grind it out or anything like that. So Mother Nature's just it looks like maybe Mother Nature thinks we're not going to have demos this year, and but the upside to that is that we're going to have a huge show because none of these farmers have anything to do. They don't have anything to get the combine ready or anything like that. So hopefully they'll be able to come and spend a day or two at the show, see the tractor pull, see the concert, enjoy the event, and then hit the field later. So we're looking for a big show, and we're actually making a few arrangements to chop some corn so that we've got a place to park all the extra vehicles that we assume are going to be here.
So it's not official, but at this point, 1 week out, you're kind of leaning towards there will not be the harvest demonstrations that we would normally have at Farm Progress.
We are working towards a different plan to give those companies some exposure in front of the crowd. We're going to do we're looking to do kind of a Paris Fashion Show runway show with this equipment, pull it out and let the reps talk about it and fold it up and unfold it and put it down and, do whatever it does except run through corn or engage in tillage. So we're wanting to make sure that we give all these exhibitors who go to this expense and do all this hard work, give them as much exposure as we can in front of the crowd.
And while that is disappointing and will be disappointing for a lot of people, I think everyone understands because same thing's happening on their farm. Everything is just behind this year.
Yeah, and it wasn't the late planting date. We can't – David got in and Mark and Colby and everybody got the corn in as soon as they could, as soon as Mother Nature would allow. It wasn't that we were still good. We had a good plan on May 15th. It's just the cool weather through the summer is what really beat us up.
Talking with Matt Jungmann, National Events Manager for Farm Progress. Farm Progress Show starts 1 week from today here in Decatur, Illinois. You mentioned, we've talked about it throughout the course of the year, a bigger exhibit field, which I know you're excited about that.
That we are, and we're actually beginning to just see the start of the annex being built. The first of the tents and the first of the equipment is going out into what's typically been David's Hayfield, a parking lot on the west side of the showgrounds. But that's almost 100 exhibitors out there that are new to the Decatur show. They were not with us in 2011. The expansion, building 12th Street onto the facility, all that took care of was 2011 exhibitors who wanted to get bigger. So, you would ask what's new at the show. Well, it's that whole 13 acres out there that's full of new exhibits. It's also where we're going to do that runway show. Chevrolet doing a ride and drive with the brand new Silverado. There's just a ton of stuff going on out there in that 13 acres.
What will you have here for livestock producers?
Kind of the northeast quadrant of the show. We're, as Mike Wilson, our farm futures editor, calls it, we're in the cash grain desert here, but there's still some livestock. And as David can attest, David's a cattleman here in Macon County. There are still cattlemen that are going to come to the show, and that northeast quadrant of the show is where we have the livestock industries tent. Dr. Joe Jeffries doing the cattle handling demonstrations with head shoots side by side, and that's kind of where we cluster all the hay tools and cattle handling equipment. All those exhibitors are all clustered there. Not to mention the horse training equipment, horse training demonstration that's going on at the Morton building. So there's plenty here for the livestock folks as well.
And of course, your other events, the pull and the concert, all those ready to go?
All those are ready to go. We're looking. Ticket sales are just starting to spike right now, which is what we expect. Is that the media the word's starting to get out, and we're starting to sell tickets. Both of those events appear to be, they kind of get their own energy, and you can kind of feel how excited the excitement going on. John Deere's donated all the equipment to pull the sleds back and take care of the tractor pull action, and then Syngenta stepped forward and helped us with the concert. We've got a lot of companies stepping forward to kind of capture the crowd that we're going to have here over those 3 days.
Okay, what days do those take place?
So the tractor pull is Monday and Tuesday night over at the Macon County Fairgrounds, and then Wednesday night the Chris Cagle concert is right here at the college, just east of the campus, and that's Wednesday night. Gates open at 5:30. I think he takes the stage at 6:30.
All right. So, again, the show itself starts 1 week from today, runs next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll be here all 3 days broadcasting live. We'll tell you more about where we'll be each day as we get closer. Matt, I was also thinking about in the old days, if you will, you'd be would have been working on traffic patterns with state police because you would have been in a different area than you'd been in the year before. That has to be so much simpler now, too, because, you got a great location right near the interstate, plus you've done this, 5 times here now at this site. There will be.
Going into our 5th show, the traffic meeting, when we have traffic meetings out at Husker Harvest Days, after doing that show 36 times in the same place, you kind of have a traffic meeting and say, everything's the same? Yep, everything's the same. No construction concerns? Nope, no construction concerns. All right, let's do it again. And the traffic meetings here in Macon County are turning into that, where you all sit down, and as long as there's no changes or wrenches that have been thrown into what you've done in the past, you're able to just dust off the plan from 2 years ago and make it happen again.
This, I would not say it's a mature site, obviously, because you're still adding to it. But when I look at things like I saw concrete being poured today and things like that, you realize the difference in having the permanent sites like this.
Yeah, the workload is different now, and it's a good thing because we're working on detail things. These exhibitors are putting finishing touches on where at the old days, like you'd say, when if it would rain and we'd have to close the showgrounds for 2 or 3 days during setup, well, that would just blow everybody's plans to pieces. Well, now the plan is going to work because there's an asphalt street right next to your exhibit. No matter what, you're going to be able to get in, and as we look across the street here at John Deere with their gravel surface on their lot, it's going to work. The plan's going to come together, and as long as everything else works, the facility is not the limiting factor anymore.
Those are great stories to tell after they've happened when we look back on what we went through a few of those years, but they sure were not very much fun at the time.
It was not a lot of fun to live through a lot of that, and it's an outdoor event, so Mother Nature can still have a big bearing on what we do, but we can live with about anything except severe weather. We don't want to have any of that kind of thing, but it was a lot of fun to do all of those, the rainouts and all that kind of stuff. Now that we're able to look back on it, but when we were going through it, it was just brutal. And so this is a logical growth of the show.
Well, it's coming up a week from today. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk more with Matt Jungmann, National Events Manager for Farm Progress.